Have you ever seen the way a dog owner interacts with a dog? And how, as time goes by, their relationship deepens. That's what happens when a lower consciousness being comes into contact with the higher consciousness being. The dog being a lower consciousness being would have never had the concept of self. It would have never responded to a name. It would have never experienced intense emotions such as happiness, joy, shame, right? Because when you scold your dog, I don't have a dog, but I'm saying I've seen it. When you scold your dog, the dog reacts and like knows it did wrong. It has a preference of food. It has so many different things. It just develops the self so much. It Those are things that it would have never done if it would have never came in contact with this higher density being, right? The human. Now, when I say when it comes into contact or interact, I'm not talking about one interaction. I'm not talking about briefly contact. I'm talking about interaction that is constant that we label a relationship. So when this dog, being a lower consciousness being, enters into a relationship with the human, it now begins to experience a life beyond its wildest dreams. Something that it could never even contemplate. It never entered into the mind of the dog when it was, if it was out there in the wild, of what the possibilities of life could be. Now here comes this human and gives it a name, and gives it a home, and gives it an identity. And now that dog is no longer common among many. Now that dog has a name. And now that dog has somebody to look forward to seeing. That dog now experiences love in a way that it would have never experienced before. Maybe it's not capable. Maybe the interaction with the higher density being is what gave it that capacity to grow into know what love is. I don't know that. But what I do know is that when we come into contact with higher density beings, right? When we come into contact with God, the same thing happens. You get a name, you get an identity, you begin to experience things that you never thought possible before until you have this interaction with God. And again, not an interaction, I'm talking about the constant interaction that we call relationship. When you enter into a relationship, then all of a sudden you get to understand what things you're capable of. Just like the human when he interacts with the dog. And to some people that don't have pets like me, it's like they're just a dog. But to the owner, and I don't want to say owner, but to them, it's like, it's not just a dog, it's so and so, and this is what they like, and this is what they don't like, and it's an intimate relationship. That's the same thing that happens with us, and to other people, we might seem like common men and women, but in the eyes of God, you are more than that. You have a name, you have your likes, your dislikes, and He's not gonna give you what you don't like, just like you wouldn't give your dog something that makes it sick, or something it doesn't enjoy. It's the same process. So that dog would have never known itself the way it does after a relationship with you as a human. And that's the same thing with us. We get to learn how powerful we truly are, who we really are, when we come into a close relationship with this higher being. So I encourage you today, find out who you really are. And right now you might be like the dog and you have no clue of what you even are. But then, when this being calls you by name and loves you and cares for you and nurtures you, you will begin to experience purpose like no other.